Part 4. Graduation Clash. The arena. The graduation arena was vast, its floor gleaming beneath the twin suns. Thousands filled the stands, cadets, instructors, Republic officials, and citizens who had come to witness history. At the center stood Kale Draven and Orion Vera, weapons drawn, eyes locked. The duel was tradition, older than the Academy itself. Two cadets chosen to fight before the Republic Council, a symbolic test of strength and leadership. The choice had been obvious: Kale and Orion, the twin S+ alphas, rivals since childhood. The air between them crackled with tension. Every breath, every heartbeat carried the weight of destiny. The clash begins. Kale struck first, his blade slicing through the air with surgical precision. Orion countered, his movements fluid, unpredictable. Steel rang against steel, sparks flying as their weapons collided. "You won't win this time," Kale said, his voice steady. Orion tilted his head, his lips curling into a faint smile. "Winning isn't the point. Surviving is." The duel raged on. Kale fought like a general, every move calculated, every strike designed to corner Orion. Orion fought like a storm, his fury driving him forward, his instincts guiding him through chaos. Hours passed. Sweat drenched their uniforms, blood streaked their skin. Yet neither yielded. Kale's muscles screamed, but he forced himself onward. Orion's vision blurred, but he refused to fall. Breaking point. The crowd roared as the duel reached its climax. Kale lunged, his blade flashing. Orion twisted, countering with a strike that sent Kale sprawling. For a heartbeat, victory seemed within Orion's grasp. But Kale rose again, his eyes burning with unyielding fire. He struck back, forcing Orion to stumble. The arena shook with the force of their clash. Finally, both collapsed, too exhausted to rise. The judges conferred, then declared the duel a draw, the first in Academy history. The crowd erupted. Two champions, equal in strength, equal in destiny. A new understanding. As Kale lay on the ground, his chest heaving, he turned his head. Orion's gaze met his. For the first time, Kale saw not just a rival, but someone who carried the same burden. And Orion, staring back, felt the same. In that moment, something shifted. Their rivalry was no longer just competition. It was the crucible of respect, the beginning of something deeper. Closing scene of Part 4. The sun set over the Academy, casting long shadows across the training fields. Kale and Orion stood at the gates, their uniforms crisp, their futures ahead. They would leave the Academy as captains of different regiments, destined to fight the Republic's wars. But in the silence between them, they both knew their story was only beginning. Part 5. Separate regiments. Departure from the Academy. The day of departure was heavy with ceremony. Cadets lined the courtyard, banners of the Republic fluttering in the wind. Kale Draven and Orion Vera stood at the front, their uniforms gleaming, their faces unreadable. The Republic Council had decided Kale would command the Iron Fang Regiment, a force known for its discipline and precision. Orion would lead the Stormbreaker Regiment, infamous for its daring raids and unpredictable tactics. The choice was deliberate. Two S+ alphas, two different philosophies, each given a regiment that reflected their strengths. As they saluted the council and turned to leave, their eyes met. No words were spoken, but the message was clear. The rivalry continues.
Kale's command.
The Iron Fang Regiment was everything Kale had dreamed of. Soldiers marched in perfect formation, weapons gleaming, discipline absolute. Kale drilled them relentlessly, shaping them into a machine of war. His strategies were flawless, his orders precise. Under his command, the regiment became a symbol of order and strength. The Republic broadcasted their training sessions, citizens marveling at Kale's brilliance. Yet Kale felt the weight of expectation pressing down on him. Every victory was scrutinized, every mistake magnified. He was no longer just a captain, he was a hero in the making. Orion's command. The Stormbreaker Regiment was chaos incarnate. Soldiers laughed in the barracks, fought with reckless abandon, and thrived in unpredictability. Orion did not seek to control them. He unleashed them. His tactics were daring, his maneuvers unorthodox. Where Kale relied on precision, Orion relied on instinct. And it worked. The Stormbreakers became legends of their own, feared by enemies, admired by allies. The Republic broadcasted their raids, citizens awed by Orion's ferocity. He was hailed as the storm that would sweep away humanity's enemies. Yet Orion carried his fame like a burden. He had never sought glory, only survival. But now, the Republic demanded more. Rivalry across the network. The Republic's networks thrived on their rivalry. Citizens debated endlessly, Kale's discipline versus Orion's chaos. Children played games, reenacting their battles. Merchants sold badges bearing their likenesses. Kale's father sent him messages of pride, urging him to surpass Orion. Orion received none, only the quiet knowledge that the Republic itself was watching him. And though they commanded separate regiments, their rivalry burned hotter than ever. Every victory was compared, every broadcast dissected. They were no longer just captains, they were icons. Closing scene of Part 5. On the battlefield, Kale and Orion fought different wars, but their paths remained intertwined. The Republic cheered their names, but in the silence of their hearts, both knew they were shaping each other into something greater. Their rivalry was no longer just competition. It was destiny. Part 6. First Contact. The alien threat emerges. The alarms of the Republic blared across every channel. Alien fleets had breached the outer colonies. For decades, humanity had prepared for this moment, but the scale of the invasion was greater than anyone had feared. Kale's Iron Fang Regiment was deployed to the industrial colony of Vera Prime, tasked with holding the line against a swarm of alien war machines. Orion's Stormbreaker Regiment was sent to the frontier world of Halcyon, where civilians were trapped under siege. For the first time, their rivalry would be tested not in simulations, but in war. Kale's battle on Vera Prime. The Iron Fang Regiment moved like a machine. Kale stood at the command post, his voice calm, his orders precise. Hold formation. Shield wall forward. Artillery, fire on my mark. Alien drones descended in waves, their weapons shrieking. Kale's soldiers held firm, their shields locking into place, their cannons firing in perfect rhythm. Every maneuver was calculated, every strike coordinated. The Republic broadcasted the battle live. Citizens watched in awe as Kale's regiment repelled the alien swarm with flawless discipline. He was hailed as the embodiment of order, the general who could not be broken. Orion's battle on Halcyon. The Stormbreaker Regiment fought like chaos unleashed. Orion led from the front, his blade flashing, his soldiers charging with reckless fury. Break their lines. Hit them where it hurts, he shouted, his voice carrying across the battlefield. Alien war machines fell beneath their assault, their formations shattered by Orion's unpredictable tactics. Civilians cheered as the Stormbreakers stormed through the streets, rescuing families, driving back the invaders. The Republic broadcasted their victory, citizens marveling at Orion's ferocity. He was hailed as the storm that would sweep away humanity's enemies. Rivalry across the stars. The Republic's networks thrived on their rivalry. Citizens debated endlessly, Kale's discipline versus Orion's chaos. Children reenacted their battles in playgrounds. Merchants sold badges bearing their likenesses. But beneath the rivalry, something deeper stirred. Kale watched Orion's broadcasts, recognizing the brilliance in his chaos. Orion watched Kale's battles, admiring the precision in his order. For the first time, they began to see each other not just as rivals, but as allies in humanity's survival. Closing scene of Part 6. As the alien fleets retreated, Kale and Orion stood on separate worlds, their regiments cheering their names. The Republic hailed them as heroes, their faces broadcast across every channel. And though they fought different battles, they both knew the war had only just begun. Part 7. Network Fame. Heroes of the Republic. The Republic's networks thrived on spectacle, and nothing captured the public's imagination more than Kale Draven and Orion Vera. Their battles were broadcast live, their victories replayed endlessly, their faces plastered across every screen. Children wore badges bearing their likenesses. Merchants sold posters of their regiments. Citizens debated endlessly, Kale's discipline versus Orion's chaos. The rivalry had become more than personal, it was cultural. Kale was hailed as the embodiment of order, the general who could not be broken. Orion was celebrated as the storm, the warrior who thrived in chaos. Together, they were humanity's greatest defenders. The strain of fame. Kale felt the weight of expectation pressing down on him. Every move was scrutinized, every word dissected. He was no longer just a captain, he was a symbol. Orion carried his fame like a burden. He had never sought glory, only survival. Yet now, strangers hailed him as a hero, a prodigy, a legend. In the quiet moments, both longed for the simplicity of the academy, when their rivalry was private, when the only eyes watching were their instructors. Now, the entire Republic watched, and the pressure was relentless. Rivalry on display. The networks thrived on their rivalry. Broadcasters compared their victories, analysts dissected their strategies, commentators debated who was stronger. Every duel, every battle, every broadcast became part of the narrative. Kale's father urged him to surpass Orion, to prove himself the greatest. Orion received no such messages, only the silent knowledge that the Republic itself was watching. And though they commanded separate regiments, their rivalry burned hotter than ever. Every victory was compared, every broadcast dissected. They were no longer just captains, they were icons. Private recognition. Late at night, Kale watched Orion's broadcasts, recognizing the brilliance in his chaos. Orion watched Kale's battles, admiring the precision in his order. For the first time, they began to see each other not just as rivals, but as allies in humanity's survival. In the silence of their hearts, something deeper stirred. Respect. Understanding. Perhaps even something more. Closing scene of Part 7. As the Republic cheered their names, Kale and Orion stood on separate worlds, their regiments at their backs. The networks hailed them as heroes, their faces broadcast across every channel. And though they fought different battles, they both knew their story was far from over.